We are a few months away from the start of the 2025-26 NBA season, and with one of the most talented draft classes in NBA history about to debut, I want to go over some of the more underrated players. I want to talk about a few guys who could be either standout rookies this season or guys who could become players much better than where they were drafted at a few seasons from now. Let's break down 3 first-round and 3 second-round picks who might just surprise you in this upcoming season. Honorable mention to the first 10 picks because this was such a talented class and because many of these picks were seen either in college or overseas. I don't really want to talk about them because these are guys expected to become stars. Also honorable mention to Yang Hansen. Hansen is one of the most hyped prospects in this draft, and there's already been a ton of media coverage on him, so I want to highlight some other guys. Although all due respect to Yang, I'm incredibly excited to watch him this season.
With the 29th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Phoenix Suns select Liam McNeely.
So first to talk about is the Charlotte Hornets forward Liam McNeely. So McNeely had a pretty good summer league showing. He averaged about 18 points, 8.5 rebounds, 4 assists on 41, 42, 89 shooting splits. Despite not being the most efficient player in college, he definitely turned this around and had a very strong summer league showing, but for the most part, McNeely is a great shooter. He's seen as one of the best pure shooters in this entire draft class, but he is more than just that. He's a solid passer. He moves off the ball pretty well. He can shoot pulling up, off the spot up, coming around the screen, any type of way you need. But beyond that, he is pretty good at getting to the line, as he did get to the free throw line around 4.5 times per game for his entire college career. He's seen as one of the best perimeter scorers in this entire draft class, someone who has a very polished offensive game, and somebody who just scores well within the flow of the offense. While he's not an insane athlete, he is also seen as a solid defender who can position and leverage himself, but we're going to see if he can do that at the highest level. While he wasn't such a good three-point shooter in college, he was still a good free throw shooter, and that makes me optimistic that he could be a good shooter in the NBA because typically, but not always, having a high free throw percentage is indicative of being a good shooter. We also only got to see him play 2 games in the summer league due to Achilles tendinopathy, so I'm curious to see how that lack of experience is going to affect him in this upcoming season, but the fact that he's on the Charlotte Hornets, a team deep into their rebuild, I think he's going to get a lot of opportunities to play and just grow with players like Brandon Miller and like LaMelo Ball.
And with the 18th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Washington Wizards select Walter Clayton Jr. from the University of Florida.
Somebody I'm incredibly excited to talk about, and that is Walter Clayton Jr. of the Utah Jazz. So while he didn't score much, he did kind of demonstrate his all-around game a little bit more in the championship, having 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists. He's got an incredibly deep range, a quick release, and he can shoot either off the dribble or from the spot-up scenario as well. Clayton Jr. did only play 1 summer league game, however, he still played incredibly well in that single game. He had 21 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists, went 47% from the field, and 4 of 10 from 3. Typically, we don't see a lot of players in summer league shoot very efficiently, so to see someone go 4 of 10 and 47% from the field, that is huge. Now, Walter Clayton Jr. is by far not the best playmaker in the world. However, he does pretty well both in transition and he has improved in the pick and roll. His skill set, that being of an off-the-ball shooter as well as a secondary ball handler, does make him more of a shooting guard. However, at 6'4", 190 pounds, he definitely has the frame more to play the point guard position. But he also was an active defender, averaging about a steal per game in college, so I do think he can be an okay defender. And at 6'4", assuming he plays the point guard position, I think that defense is going to continue well into the NBA. Being on the Utah Jazz, a team that is clearly still far away from competing, I think he's going to get quite a few opportunities to show what he can do, and I think he's going to come into the league as an amazing shooter. He did fall a little bit in this class, and that is because he is going to be 23 years old at the end of the season. Typically, rookies who are older don't really have that very high ceiling, but they usually come in with a better floor than most players. So being more experienced, that probably means you won't be a star, but you could be a very good player in the NBA. Although, of course, with draft picks, we can never say anything with 100% certainty.
With the 26th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Brooklyn Nets select Ben Seraph.
So another pick that I really like is the guard for the Brooklyn Nets, Ben Seraph. So Seraph comes in with great size for a guard. He's around 6'6", 200 pounds, and he is seen as one of the best playmakers in this entire draft class. He is somebody that operates incredibly well both in transition and in the half court, and he specializes in the pick and roll. During his time in Europe, in both the Euro Cup and in the German Basketball League, he was seen as one of the top performers in the continent, and he is also seen as someone who is quite mature for his age, and he is someone someone that did play well going up against older European competition. Over in the Euro Cup, he averaged around 13 points, 2 rebounds, 4.5 assists, and about a steal per game. Beyond his playmaking, he is also someone who excels in the mid-range, having an incredible pull-up game, and he's not too bad around the rim either. However, not everything has been perfect for him. 6'6", 200 pounds, as he is a little bit small for his size. He's not an incredible athlete, and he was around a 20% three-point shooter. That definitely isn't good in a league where we really need guards to shoot. He almost has that Sean Livingston type of role set, and the fact that he was only around a 70% free throw shooter doesn't give me the most confidence that he'll become a great three-point shooter. Also, during his time in Summer League, he definitely struggled, but he did admit to this, and he did admit that there was going to be a lot of adjustment that he needs for the NBA, as he averaged only 7 points and 4 assists per game, shooting 30% from the field and 53% from the free throw line, not making a single three-pointer. So there's going to be a lot of adjustment, but there is a lot of time for adjustment. Serif plays for the Brooklyn Nets. This Nets team is not going to be competing for a long time, and the fact that they drafted 5 rookies in the first round makes me think that they're definitely going to be prioritizing player development and just letting the guys play and adjust to the NBA. Serif is also going to only be 20 at the end of the season, so I really think if he can progress into the role, if he gets a lot of time to play alongside his fellow rookies and doesn't really have that much pressure, just focus on playmaking, focus on playing good defense, and maybe get, his 8-ish points per game around the mid-range and finishing, I think he'll be alright, just give him some time. But I wouldn't be surprised if Serif has a pretty rough rookie year, especially compared to some of the other guys on this list. Now let's get into the second round picks, because some of these guys have the potential to be some of the biggest steals in this entire draft, as well as guys who could just play much better than where they were drafted at.
The 34th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Ryan Kulkburner from Clayton University.
Of anybody in this draft, Ryan Kulkburner might just be the biggest steal. He was a 5th-year senior coming out of Creighton, so he's going to be about 24 years old at the end of the season, but I think the Charlotte Hornets got another great draft pick with him. In his 5th year, Kulkburner averaged about 19 points, just under 9 rebounds, and assists and a half per game, while shooting 65% from the field, 34% from 3, and 68% from the free throw line. He was a 4-time Conference Defensive Player of the Year and led the conference in blocks for the last 3 straight seasons. It's no surprise given the fact that he stands 7'1" with a 7'5" wingspan, and he's a pretty solid athlete for somebody that size. He is absolutely dominant in drop coverage. He is great out of the pick and roll. He also has shown a little bit of the ability to shoot the 3-ball, as we saw both in the summer league and in college, and really he could just do a little bit of everything, as we saw him scoring in the post as well. So it's no surprise that Kulkburner won the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar Award for being the best center in all of college basketball. So the fact that the Hornets got somebody who won the award for being the best center in all of college basketball in the second round, I think that is a huge steal, because to me, Kulkburner is the kind of guy who might be more of a higher floor, maybe not low, maybe medium ceiling player, but I definitely think he has a high floor. Now, it always takes centers specifically a little bit of time to adjust to the NBA, but I do think he can be a great defensive player and a great rebounder, and if you could do that while being mildly athletic, you have a spot in this league. You're always going to. And in Summer League, he did exactly what I would expect him to. In 6 games played, he averaged just under 10 points, 5.5 rebounds, and an assist per game at 0.7 steals and 1.7 blocks on 56, 28, 70 shooting splits. So he was relatively efficient for a league where we don't see a lot of efficient players. He played good defense. He scored just under 10 points per game, set screens, maybe could have gotten a few more boards, but I think he's really going to get a lot of opportunity to play, especially given the fact that the Charlotte Hornets kind of traded away some centers this offseason.
Cavaliers, they made their selection. They really wanted to get Tyrese Proctor. I am told, Jonathan, that he will have a spot on this roster next year.
So another pick I really like, and that is the Cleveland Cavaliers taking Tyrese Proctor at the 49th overall spot. In his final and junior year at Duke, Proctor became a star. He saw a major jump in his efficiency from both the field and from three-point range. He averaged around 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per game, shooting 45% from the field, 40% from 3, and 60% from the free throw line. His skill set is actually a little bit similar to Walter Clayton Jr., but Proctor is a little bit bigger, standing 6'6", but he is skinnier, being only around 185 pounds. Proctor is a great shooter, one of the best in all of college basketball. He's a good passer, but he's not exactly the highest volume playmaker, and he's more ideal as that secondary ball handler or a spot-up shooter just because he has that great fluid release. He's got solid vision, especially in the pick and roll. He plays pretty well in defense given his length, but he will probably have to bulk up a little bit to guard some of these guys in the NBA. But the reason why I really like him is because of this fit on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last season, Cleveland was one of the best three-point shooting teams in the entire NBA, but in that second round against the Indiana Pacers, all that three-point shooting went away and that team was tragic. It also didn't help that Darius Garland was injured for a lot of the playoffs. Proctor not only can come in and help them from a three-point shooting standpoint, but I think he can help them from the depth and probably help them out more out in the future as well. Being 6'6" and a great off-ball player who can shoot and dribble a little bit, he can play well alongside Donovan Mitchell, alongside Lonzo Ball, or alongside Darius Garland. Given the fact that we know Lonzo Ball's injury history, that also makes me a little bit more optimistic about Proctor getting some decent play time as well.
With the 57th pick in the 2025 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Max Schulga from Kyiv, Ukraine, and Virginia Commonwealth University.
The last player that I wanted to mention was the 57th overall pick, and yes, there were only 59 in this total draft class, but I think Max Schulga has a decent chance of being a good NBA player, or at least in being in the G League. So at VCU, he averaged around 15 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 assists per game on 43, 39, 78 shooting splits. So he was a relatively efficient player in college. He was a good three-point shooter, and he was definitely a good spot-up player. But he was more than just a catch-and-shoot player or an off-ball player. He did a great job attacking closeout and drawing fouls, and he got to the free throw line around 5.5 times per game. Given the fact that Schulga is only about 6'5", he got 6 rebounds per game, and I'm pretty sure that was like first or second on his entire team. That is pretty crazy. And he did this while not being much of an athlete either. He's just a guy who has a nose for the loose balls, and he knows how to hustle, and he's been described as being incredibly coachable. And while I wouldn't expect a lot of him in the NBA, it's the fact that he got drafted to the Boston Celtics, a team that uses guards like him, and a team that is great at developing young talent. Boston absolutely loves their bigger guards who can shoot the three ball, play defense, and hustle. Schulga does all of those things on top of being an incredibly coachable player. And then when you look at the fact that Boston has had some pretty decent late round draft picks, once again, guys who wouldn't become stars, but guys who are probably rotational players, that makes me think that Schulga could actually become a rotational player, which is not common for a late second round pick. Now, Max Schulga is a bit older, he's 23 years old, and like I said, he's not much of an athlete, and he also didn't have a good summer league showing either. So the cards aren't exactly in his favor. He's gonna have to do a lot, and he's gonna have to do a lot very quickly to stay in the NBA, or at least stay in the G League. Because of the moves that they've made this offseason, because of the Jason Tatum injury, obviously I don't really expect the Boston Celtics to be competing for a whole lot this season. I think this year is going to be more focused on development than anything else, so maybe we could see Schulga receive some NBA minutes, but I think it's going to be more likely that he either comes off the bench, or even more likely, he's in the G League. But with Boston's history, and with Schulga being the player that he was described as, I think that there is a decent chance that the 57th overall pick either finds his way onto a G League or even an NBA roster. Now, these are just a few players that I wanted to highlight, that guys I didn't think that they were getting talked about enough. There are definitely some other steals in this draft class. Once again, this is just one of the most talented draft classes of all time. And even the second round, I think there are a lot of good players in this second round. So if there are some guys in this draft class, or even guys from like last year's draft class that aren't getting talked about enough, comment down below and I will definitely check them out, because I'm always on the lookout for new players that just aren't getting talked about enough. But if you like the video, you know what to do, and I will catch you all next time.